our commonest, what word should we use? One of the common issues with tension headaches is how our posture has ended up for whatever reason. Morning, Helen. So quite often we end up with like a forward head posture and a kind of bit of a rounded spine. That kind of puts this pressure into the back of our neck. If I show you now, look, if I sit here like this, one of the commonest things will be, for those of you who are just logging in, just discussing tension headaches and forward head posture. So our head weighs a lot. Some people's is probably heavier than others, depending on how full of shit it is, but there we go. So, joke, obviously. So, if you end up, for whatever reason, sort of culturally, we tend to have this kind of shape, where the neck sits forward and the spine sits back. Now, when this happens, what we end up having is this very flexed spine and this very extended like C-spine. So our T-spine, L-spine tends to be flexed with the C-spine in extension. Now the problem with this is a shape that at some point when we walk, we should have to access something like this, but over time we end up getting stuck without the ability to move back. So we'll play with this today. It'll be a pretty chilled class then. We'll play exploring these shapes on the floor and whatnot, but when we get like this, weirdly you kind of get this pulling down here and the tissues up here. This is called your mastoid. The part of your skull up here is called your mastoid. And you've got all of these muscles down through your neck. Oh God, we're nearly time to start. Sorry, time's flying. You've got all these muscles that run down your neck and join into your kind of shoulders and down into here. So you've kind of got levator scapulae. You've got scapulae. I don't know. I'm jumbling words now. You've got sternocleidomastoid, which is this big one here you can kind of get hold of like this. You've got scalenes, which run down here. And when you end up with this forward-headed posture, it pulls them into quite an area of tension that pulls on the back of your head here, and it kind of just causes, obviously, as most of you know, that part of your skull is where big chunks of your entire nervous column comes out of. So it ends up putting excess tension there, hence causing the tension headache. So let's see if in some way we can help move some spines around, move some necks around, move some skulls around, and let them relax. Yeah? Ace. We are going to start lying down, in which case I'm going to slide the comments off just for now. I will reply to anything that needs replying to. Please do feel free if after this you're a bit like, oh, that made some sense but not quite enough or whatever, to tag me in this video and say, can you clarify this point or that point, or what was that thing we did that felt nice, that felt horrendous, that felt good there. Clarify afterwards. I'm happy to go through whatever you want. So, lie down on your mats. We're going to start with knees bent up. So we're going to start in this position here. So as we start lying down on our backs, let the knees just drop together for a moment. Keep your feet, maybe just, if you're on a yoga mat, just about mat's width apart. And then we're just going to begin to feel into our body, feel into our neck, feel into our shoulders and our hips. where do you feel as if you rest your weight in your skull? Does it feel as if your chin is more towards the sky and you're more towards the top of the head? Or does it feel as if your chin is closer to your throat and your neck and that you're more towards the back of the head? Just begin to use this as a moment to scan and check in with this part of your head, with this part of your skull. Now all we're going to try and do with that head is put our fingers under the back of the head, and in fact we'll all go one direction, so we're going to pick our head up and we're going to lift our chin towards the sky and put our head back down onto the floor with our head further towards the top of the skull rather than towards the back. And just notice how that feels and see if it makes any difference to the way that your chest sits, the way your pelvis sits. It might not yet, but just be aware and have a little look. And then we're going to do the opposite. So as you do that, just be aware of how the neck feels, how your back feels. Then you're going to place your fingers under the back of the head, lift it up gently and lengthen it until you get it as long as possible and you get right onto the back of the neck. And then again, notice how you feel there. What you might find at this point is that you feel a lot more kind of pulled through certain parts of your neck. Does it feel as if your chest is being pulled up? Does it feel as if your low back, your middle back is being lifted off the floor? Does it feel as if your shoulder blades get pulled down into the middle of your back a bit more? So we've kind of found those two head positions. Now all I want you to start doing is just going to slide your head along the floor. And so you've gone from that really on the back of the head, and now you're going to slide it up towards the top of the head. And then you're going to slowly slide it back towards the back of the head. And just do that 2 or 3 times. And as you do it, what I want you to observe and notice is one, the sensations you feel, excuse me, in your neck. I would just like to apologise. The cough I had is not because of it. I feel unwell at all. I just had a fruit smoothie and I feel I've got a bit of a raspberry or blackberry seed in my throat. So apologies for that. So then you're going to slide it back the other way. And just notice, as I say, any sensations around the head and neck. Obviously your hair might get a bit roughed up. But can you notice as well that now that as your chin goes towards the sky, your chest is hopefully just beginning to feel like it drops? As if your rib cage around what's in technical terms called your xiphoid process, that's the little knobbly bit at the base of your breastbone, that's dropping down. And then again, as you slide back towards the back of your head, the rib cage lifts up. And so just do this another 3 times, really slowly. You should not be moving quickly. The faster you move, the less you're going to feel, the more you're going to avoid and miss parts of your body that should be moving. And again, remember, we're starting with the head, so don't let the chest move until it feels as if it wants to. And then final time, dropping back down towards the top of the head, the rib cage dropping. And then drop back down towards the back. Beautiful, cool. So now, just let yourself shake out. If you want to give your head a little rub, relax back down. So taking that, we're now just going to begin to move our pelvis. So now, ignore your head for a minute. It might get dragged around, but just you're thinking about your pelvis. So now, all I want you to try to do is imagine that the front of your pelvis, you rest your hands on the bony bits at the front of your hips, and all you're going to do is tilt that towards your thigh bone. So you're going to, what in technical terms we call it an anterior tilt. So all you're going to do is pull the front of the pelvis towards your legs. That should create a gap under your back. And now you're going to tilt that pelvis back down towards the floor, and that should create a closing of your back into the floor. So just go both directions. Again, we're going slowly and just begin to notice what happens. It's a bit hard when we're on the old videos to kind of ask questions, but ask yourself, can you, as you tilt your tailbone towards you so that you push your low back into the floor, can you notice that your rib cage is dropping down? And do you notice how it opens your chin to the sky, opens the throat to the sky? And then again, you're going to drag the pelvis back again. And that's hopefully going to lift the chest up. And you should feel like the chin begins to drag to the floor. So this is a really simple way to begin to put movement back into the body and begin to lengthen tissues. Now what we're going to try to do is put all three of these together. So as you tilt your tailbone towards you, push your low back into the floor, I want you to deliberately lift your chin up towards the sky. And so you close the back of the neck, open the throat, the rib cage drops, the low back is in the floor. Your bum, if you were to run your hands under your bum cheeks, they should just be quite light on the floor. They're not lifting up. Your low back and pelvis are still down, but your actual buttocks, the muscly, fleshy bit is off the floor. And now again, we're going to tilt that tailbone back. And as you tilt that tailbone back, place the fingers on the back of the neck, draw the neck nice and long. You can do this without your hands in a moment, but just for now, we're just exaggerating the movement and understanding where we're going. And then again, roll the pelvis down, lift the chin towards the sky. And then again, tilt it back. Now as you roll the pelvis back, as the chin comes towards your chest, the neck lengthens, take a deep breath in through your nose, breathe down into the ribs. And then again, exhaling out. And that exhale out just softens the whole rib cage down. It releases that pressure tension through the lungs to allow the space to close your body off. One more time, breathing here nice and deeply in. And then exhaling back out. Bring the knees up in towards the chest and just begin to close your chin to your throat, your chin to your chest. Roll yourself backwards and forwards a few times. And we're just going to come up to a nice seated position. So we are going to come back to that same thing in just a few moments. This is literally one of my daily, so what you've just been doing on the floor is literally one of my daily mobility exercises that I do every day, lying on the floor, or there's a version you can do against the wall, but we won't worry about that. And as far as, if you follow me on Instagram, I put a little video up yesterday of the benefits I've just had. I've had a little breakthrough of some movement in my spine. It's huge, it's amazing, it feels so good. So now we're going to begin to take this a little bit further. We might have played with this the other day. We're going to bring our arms out. And this is going to tie back, and we're going to lie down again in a moment and bring this in. So all I want you to try to do is move your thumbs. So in fact, we'll put thumbs up. Imagine we're like in the 80s and we're doing that. We're going to turn our thumbs back. I don't know if that's an 80s thing or not, but I'm pretending it is. And we're going to keep spinning the arms as much as we can. I'm going to move a little bit closer so you can see a bit better. But as we spin these arms, don't rush, keep moving the wrists. That should begin to pull the elbows. That should begin to pull the chest. And you should begin to feel as if your rib cage is lifting up, as if your shoulder blades pull into your back body. Now from there, we're going to unwind, turn the thumbs back, all the way through, let the fingers now go, point them towards the sky. I use the example of like your little paper aeroplane, when you just turn the ends of the wings up, Imagine you doing that and you're just turning the whole shoulders forward. And now again we're going to go back. And again, now we get the 80s thumbs, spin the thumbs back, spin the wrists, spin the elbows. You should feel as if the shoulder blades pull down and they lift your spine. So as we go from the side, we spin out, we end up with this lifting. And as you can hopefully see, it lifts and lengthens the back of the neck. And then we're going to roll back through. Paper aeroplane hands, roll back through to there. Beautiful. So from here, we're now going to change. We come back to center. Our left hand is going to spin thumb up, out towards the back. Right hand going to make the paper aeroplane hand, and we're going to spin ourselves through. So now the right shoulder's dropping forward, left shoulder's pulling back. Both hands are creeping outwards, pulling outwards. You can see my whole spine bends towards the right. Come back out. This should be quite hard work. Right thumb now spins back in the 80s thumb style, radical style. Left hand paper aeroplane. And now we're reaching those hands out and feeling the spine twist this way. Again, still looking on the horizon. This should give you a nice pull down here, a nice compression muscles working here. If you keep looking forward, should begin to feel some length down this side of the neck. Release that, go back the other way. Paper aeroplanes, 80s thumb. And if you keep pulling these fingers back, you'll feel like the forearm also gets a nice pull. One more time in the other direction. Finding that spine move. Good. Release yourself out and give yourself a little shake. Hopefully shoulders, back, side bodies all feel like they've just done some work there. Cool. From here we are going to now come just to stand up for a moment. We're just going to bring in a little bit of rotation. So what I want you to try to do is, this is very kind of specific and you're going to really dial this in. So you're going to place your hands, if you can. If you can't, you can just hold them like this. If you can, you're going to try to bring your thumbs around your rib cage, and you're going to hold your rib cage still. Now, as you hold your rib cage still, you're going to try to keep this facing 12 o'clock, keeping facing forward, and then as you exhale, you're going to try to bring your left hip bone, your pelvis bone, forward and round. So the idea being is that we're just going to try and rotate just the pelvis towards one direction. And we come back to center, and then we're going to try to rotate it towards the other direction. So in my case, and hopefully yours, it's going to be left. Notice, are you pulling round with the body? If you can't do this, it's surprisingly difficult for many people. So just take your time. The more you practice the tiny little movements of not letting the rest of the body move, even just a millimetre of proper, true movement is going to be massive for your body. 1 millimetre today means that it can move 1 millimetre back in a proper movement. Good. Okay, now bring your hands down on towards the hips. Hold the hips still, and now again, we're now going to keep the pelvis still. You don't have to keep your hands on your hips. In fact, don't do that, it's a bit difficult. Just imagine you're holding your hands on your hips. Place your hands on your chest and just begin to keep looking forward at 12 o'clock and turn just the rib cage through to 11, 10, 9, whatever it might go to, but keep everything else still. I struggle to go right, but there we go. So just do that 2 or 3 times. And you might feel the odd click and crack in your spine. It's really small movements, but really mindful, deliberate, using your breath to watch and guide you in. And then relaxing. Give yourself a little shake out. Cool. So we're going to come down onto our spine. We're going to just try to combine a couple of those movements together. So that movement of this thing that we did lying down with this thing of rolling out, and then we're going to do this one too. And so we kind of get all of the tissues in the spine to be moving around all in one go. So as we're lying down, again, just take a moment. Let's just take let's take 5 breaths. Hands resting onto your rib cage. And then inhale into the hands as you breathe in. Feel the ribs expand, feel your belly expand. Maybe feel the tailbone drawing away, creating a gap under your spine. The chin being dragged towards your chest, the upper spine lengthening as you exhale. Everything just drops back down. So really deliberate, mindful, attentive, observational breaths. Three more. Last breath. And then as you exhale, let it all go. Bring your hands down by your sides. So now we're going to, again, hopefully that just gave you an idea that just your breath moves your body, moves more than just the rib cage. Your pelvis might have just begun to rock a little bit, your head begun to rock a little bit. So, I'm actually going to add one more little bit in here. This might seem confusing when not being able to see it properly. It's not really easy, but all I want you to try to do is, if your feet are in the floor, imagine without them actually moving, they're not kind of actually getting any closer to you, but just give them a short, sharp little tug towards you without them moving. So as if you'll feel your hamstrings fire. And hopefully what you'll also feel is as your feet pulling towards you, you create a gap under your back, the chest lift, the chin rolls to the chest, and your head rolls on the floor. And you can just begin to gently tug and let go. And then you should begin to feel as if those 3 cogs begin to move. If one doesn't move, that just gives you an idea of where your attention needs to sit. So, with the hands down by your side, knees bent up as they are, we're going to start with our thumbs. So this whole movement now is going to be driven through the thumbs, moving the arms, moving the shoulders, moving the head, chest, pelvis. So, with your palms facing in towards your hips, thumbs up in that 80s radical style. And all you're going to do is turn the thumbs out towards 3 and 6, so the palms would almost be facing up if the fingers weren't in the rad thumbs up grip. And then you're going to keep spinning those hands. And as you keep spinning them, it should feel like your shoulder blades pull together. As your shoulder blades pull together, you feel like the chest lifts. You feel like your back lifts off the floor. Your bum is tilting away. Your chin comes in towards your chest. And now again, you're going to move it with the hands, roll the arms in. As the arms roll in, the shoulders lift off the floor, the chin lifts to the sky, the low back into the floor, the bum, cheeks just lightly brushing, pelvis still down. And then again, thumbs roll out. Again, as the thumbs roll out, they can keep going. You might even be able to get the fingernails back down onto the floor in that weird externally rotating arm. Chin to chest. Tailbone tilting, low back off the floor. And then again, rolling back through again. And then back again. So again, make sure the shoulder blades feel like they're pulling down and back down your body. You're not pulling them up towards your ears, they're coming down your back. And then relax again. That might make your back feel like it's doing quite a lot of work, it might make it quite achy. But that's probably a good thing. It's a fairly good sign that those muscles aren't used to doing anything. Relax back to center. So now we're going to mix it up and do the opposing arm. So not only are we going to be getting that lift through the chest, we're also going to be kicking our spine towards the left and towards the right, which will hopefully give us more movement, more range of motion through that spine. So from here, that right thumb spins towards the back. So we've got the rad 80s thumb on the right. On the left, we're going to create that paper aeroplane hand. Spin that arm forward, roll through. And as you roll through, you should feel as if your left side of your upper shoulder is lifting off the floor. The right shoulder is pushing down. Chest feels like it's pushing towards the left. Head still looks forward, straight above you. And so the right side of the neck is lengthening. Come back out. And then go the other way. So as you go the other way, the right shoulder feels like it's now off the floor. The left shoulder feels like it's pulling down and back into your body. If you're still looking straight above you, not letting your head look left or right, you should feel like the left side of your neck is lengthening. Your tailbone's drawing out. And then again, we'll roll back through and roll back through. And you're just going to go one way and then the other. I'm going to find you. I'm going to get you. That's a little lot, Blondie song that just came to me. But we can find those parts of the spine which don't move. We can get them to actually begin to move. And then relax back to center. Draw the arms up over your head and lengthen your whole body out. Interlink the hands and push them long. And then draw your knees up in towards your belly. Give them a deep hug and a squeeze. Just place your hands on your knees now rather than the whole elbows. And all you're going to do is push your knees away from you, but keep your back on the floor as much as you can, so you kind of lengthen through your spine. And then we're just going to rock forwards and backwards a few times. And finding our way up to a seated position. So find yourself in whatever seated position works for you. And we'll just find a few minutes of simple breathing to finish the practice off. It's been a pretty chilled one today. Hopefully you should still feel something with these movements. The back muscles should feel like they've done quite a lot, maybe even through the neck and shoulders. Hopefully this will highlight a little bit of where things do and don't move. But really our breath is so important for all of this. So we're going to take a few moments of simple nasal breathing with some little breath holds just to try to give us an idea of how, if you like, functionally, how optimally we are breathing. So just relax for a moment. You don't have to be sitting cross-legged. Just sit comfortably, even find a chair if you need to. You're going to breathe in through the nose for a count of 4, 3. Close the nostrils while squeezing them together with your right finger and thumb. Hold for 4. Release, exhale for 8. Inhale for 4. Squeeze the nose, hold for 6 this time. Release, exhale for 8. Inhaling for 4. Exhale, 8. Now just taking 3 normal, comfortable rounds, inhaling and exhaling. And then we're just going to breathe a full breath in. Then we're just going to exhale a third of our breath. And stop and hold. Exhale a third of the breath. Stop and hold. Exhale a third of the breath. Stop and hold. Inhaling. Exhale a third of the breath. Stop and hold. Exhale a third of the breath. Stop and hold. Exhale a third of the breath. Stop and hold. And again, inhaling a third of the breath. Inhale a third of the breath. Inhale a third of the breath. Exhale the full breath out. Inhale a third. Inhale a third. Inhale a third. Hopefully each time you're feeling slightly different parts of your torso moving, exhale a full breath. Final breath here. Inhale a third. Inhale a third. Inhale a third. Exhale that full breath out. Find your hands coming in prayer up to the third eye. As we just remind ourselves to have clear and loving thoughts for ourselves, our friends, our families, or anyone else that we may come across in our day-to-day lives. I feel that right now is pretty important. Everything's a bit disparate and sort of distant between ourselves and everyone. So just taking a moment to actually remind yourself to be #BeKind. That was going around a while ago. Seems many people have forgotten that already. Hands down to our mouths as we remind ourselves to have clear and loving communications with ourselves, our friends, our families, or anyone else that we may come across. Again, just reminding yourself that beating yourself up is not being kind. Even if you're externally being kind, what about yourself? Finally, hands to heart center as we remind ourselves to have clear and loving and honest intentions for whatever it is we plan for the rest of today, this week, this month, this year, or the foreseeable futures of our lives. Folding forward down over the legs, Makasa Samastha Sukha Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.